Well, you've got 10 beautiful ways to fail in life, and that's a must you should follow if you want to fail. One of them is waiting for the perfection. If you're waiting for perfection in your project or anything to launch in life or anything to do in life, you are waiting for failure. Because until you're waiting for months for an idea to go into a perfection zone, someone else who is very less intelligent than you, less competitive than you, will launch, reiterate, and get hold of the market. And you will be just watching for the perfection. Your project or your idea, your steps of life will stay dead because they never will hit the laws of the physics of the real life. They are bound to fail just because they are staying in your mind. You think your mind is very sharp, is very competitive, or better than others. Trust me, if someone else 10 times less intelligent than you will fall into a category where they take actions and launch, they will be better off than you. So you have to understand, waiting for perfection, what is it? What is waiting for perfection? Is a high level elite word for cowardice, because you are so afraid. You are a coward to try things, to make yourself just lay down in front of the audience, that because you think you will be mocked off, you will be laughed at. That's the reason you will wait, and you will become a coward and someone else will take the place, and then you will start blaming the market. That's what's going to happen. So please follow the step of waiting if you want to fail. The number two step to make sure that you fail in life is saying yes to everyone in your life. Because every yes takes you away, one step away from your vision, from your goal. What you're doing by saying yes to everyone, every colleague, every employee, every client of yours, or every partner of yours, by saying yes to them, you are saying no or staying away from your vision, one step away. With every yes, you're saying no to your vision. So your mind is saying, okay, my original vision is not that much important. So your mind starts rewiring that part. It says, no, something else is more important. That means it should not be that important. That is why this person is saying no to me and saying yes to everyone else with one step ahead. So you are taking yourself away from your own vision by saying yes to everyone. So start saying yes to everyone if you love the failure that much. So these are the steps I'm telling you to make sure you fail in life. So you have to follow these steps if you're very fond of failure, because this is what we've been doing all our life. We don't want to hear the success part. That's what our whole aim is, because no one tells us you have to start saying no to everything else. If you say only yes to one thing, that will, your brain will be the only success story that you will have, that will take you towards that vision. So what we do is we take the burden of total exhaustion, fatigue on ourselves, because we cannot say no to anyone else, but we are willing to say and sacrifice our own vision. So start saying no to everyone rather than your own vision and your own project. Number three step to make sure you fail in life is to spend more time and money on productivity tools. You will see that you will be wasting time on lots of tools, lots of diary making and colorful Notion projects, where you will be thinking, okay, you have spent 3 hours on building an activity diary or a project report where there was no execution of results. And that will make you happy. Because why? Because our human brain tricks us in a way that gives us a dopamine hit very quickly, where it says, okay, I am making a beautiful diary. This colorful chart is so beautiful. Everyone would love, whoever sees it at the first sight, it will be a love at first sight for everyone. But that has produced nothing for 3 hours, because you have to stay away from these dopamine hits to focus on the execution part. What you have to understand, these does not produce anything. They are just dopamine hits. You have to stay away from dopamine hits. I spent couple of hours I wasted on scrolling today, but at least I acknowledged that. And now I am angry at me because there was no execution in those scrolling time periods. So you have to stay away from these tactical parts, where these tools, these premium tools, they trick your mind of creating non-executional parts and steps in your life, and they make you go away from your real vision and goal. Number four step to make sure a leader, especially it is for leaders, to go towards failure, is start bragging about their past glories. And I've been a culprit of that as well. When we start just bragging about our past glories, I've done this 3 years ago, three months ago, and or 5 years ago, that is why I deserve this. This is where we start becoming a victim of our own glory that has gone past. We start becoming a piece of museum that is just an artifact but produce nothing but memories. What market wants or everyone wants is what you can solve now, what you can bring to the table now. That is what everyone is interested in. They are not bothered about you or me, what we have done in the past. Past is past. This is where we drag ourselves down. We have to make sure we are capable of staying away from atrophy of bragging the past. We should make ourselves so stronger that we can make something big now. What we are capable of solving a problem now. That's what the market demands. Otherwise, they will shift to something else that is hungry for victory today. So you don't want to be remembered as a past. You have to be capable enough where you can bring to the market that this is the problem I can solve now. So this way, no one can beat you ever. Otherwise, keep repeating the past. And then what people will do is they will just go past by you. And that will make sure you are unsuccessful. And this is all it is about, to tell you how to be unsuccessful. Number five step to failure is that when you have built a ceiling or any operation that is solely dependent on you, where you don't trust others, where you have not a team with you or anyone that can replace you in your absence, you are bound to fail. You have bound yourself, your business, your operation, your project in a way that it will collapse even if a flu hits you, as even a fatigue hits you, a family emergency, a planned or unplanned planned tour can come up. Then what's going to happen in place of you? You are bound to failure. A solo entrepreneur will always fail if there is no backup they have created. You have to have the backup, but backup should be in a way it is strong and more powerful than you even. That is the way most of the people think, that okay, everything should be dependent on me. There is no one else in the organization that can be doing that much effort, or that can bring so much progress apart from me. When you think that way, when you're not relying on your team and you're not giving confidence to your team, you are bound to fail. You are bound to go into exhaust mode, because humans eventually exhaust. That is why we're discussing not to follow this path. Otherwise, you must follow this and be exhaustive and bound to be a failure. Number six way to failure is by not stretching your beliefs and your limits. When you're not stretching out your mind, you have a set belief, okay, I want to build this much of a mud pie. You will be the master of your mud pie only. But you will wake up 10 years later, 5 years later, when you will realize your competitors or people who started with you, they have built skyscrapers. They have built skyscrapers. Why? Because they stretch their limits. They never bound themselves. Okay, I'm going to be the master of my mud pie because I had my belief system. You will be the master of your own hut, but you will see that the world has no meaning of that. You have no meaning in the current world then, because if you don't grow, if you think that this is my goal and this is what I have to achieve only, but because 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, that doesn't matter anymore, because the world keeps evolving. So you have to keep stretching your limit. You have to just fight against your limit. Only then you will succeed. Otherwise, definitely you are bound to be a failure. And this is what you should do: always confine to a limited boundary in your mindset. Please stay in the boundary of your mindset. Don't stretch out yourself. Don't broaden your vision or limits. Then you are bound to be a failure. And this is what we are discussing: how to be a unsuccessful person. This is the point number six. Thank you. Number seven point for your failure, or for anyone's failure, a beautiful way to start blaming external forces. You have to start blaming external forces, because you are bound to fail. This is what you are learning, how to be a failure in life. So you start blaming external forces: the collapsing economy, the rules, the government, the external forces, all the factors that can come into account. You will start blaming everyone else, and you must. This is what the failures do. The best thing you can do after that is write a history book about yourself, a story, a, a very pathway for others also, because that will be a very helpful thing for others as well to learn how not to be a failure. That what you can do only after blaming everything on the external factors, because a failure who blames everything on the external factors, they are saying that they can never make a comeback. What can they not do? They can never make a comeback, and they can never design their destiny. That is what you are emphasizing on by blaming external factors. So you cannot make a comeback because you start blaming everything that happens outside. You have to start fixing your belief system. Only then you design your destiny, and only then you become the successful person. Otherwise, please start blaming external factors, because then you need something to blame on, because you need someone to take the fall for your failures. Number 8 step to failure is that you start delaying the task, all the difficult tasks for tomorrow. And that is a compound debt that you are accumulating. So, what you are doing is you are saying, I want more debt on myself because right now you don't see the burden. This is a psychological credit card with 500% interest rate. Mark my words, sometime even 1000% interest rate. That will come out after a long time, and then when it comes out you won't be able to repay it. There is no way to repay it, because time once gone can never be recaptured. You can never give the value back to time, and you can never recap that, and obviously you will start blaming others again. So this is the worst thing people do when they start shifting tasks towards the next day. Whenever they see a difficulty or they become lazy, they go back to their comfort zone, and this is what our brain has been trained for centuries, for millennials. But obviously we want to go with that pathway, we want to be a failure, so keep fast forwarding the tasks towards next day. And then what happens once you fail, then you can write your history book. That's what you should do. Number 9 is becoming a professional beginner. To become a successful failure, you have to be a professional beginner. How does that happen? I will teach you, don't worry. And that's what we've been doing all along. What happens whenever a new project is there in our life, whatever we want to do, that's a dopamine hit. We start with the full energy. But then comes the reality. It becomes boring because the reality is boring. And then it needs discipline, consistency. This is where we give up, because we don't want to do the full canvas picture. We keep leaving that project half-heartedly and then start something new in the life. That's what we all been doing. That's what we are, all of us are culprit of. So we don't want a full-fledged picture. We want half painted canvases. We don't want the compound effect of the full picture. This is where we all lose, and this is what you should do, I should do, if we want the failure. We don't want the continuity of the project or the life. We get bored because every project hits a desert phase. When we go to the desert phase, we don't want to go into the desert phase because there is no water in there. We don't want to survive that path of desert. Once we go past that desert phase, then there is water all over there, ocean, beautiful sceneries, but we don't want to see that because we are so scared of the desert phase. We become a professional beginner. We start leaving the projects halfway. That's what our specialty is as a failure. The number 10 final way to be unsuccessful is working very hard. Now you will say, how working hard is going to be a failure? That's what we should do to be a successful person. Working hard on irrelevant tasks is the best way towards failure. What we do 16 hours a day work doing irrelevant tasks, doing nothing that doesn't matter, by avoiding a certain performative task that could have been a sales pitch, a needle that needs to be moved, that shifts the whole paradigm of the project. We don't do that, we avoid that, but we start doing small tasks and telling ourselves, so we start telling ourselves, look how hard I am working. That's the best thing I should do every day, because we satisfy our inner self by giving this excuse. Okay, I've worked 16 hours on irrelevant small things, and then I start telling my whole team or people around me, look how hard I'm working. But the real thing, we don't do that. That's the best way towards failure. Telling yourself, I have worked 16 hours a day more than anyone else, but that doesn't produce anything. That is not affirmative. So we make sure we become a failure. And this was the final part of our failure list. And we should all adopt that if we want to become a failure. Otherwise, please see the next part where we define how success should be. Thank you very much.